Welcome, everybody, to Who's Your Band. I am your host, Jeffrey Paul. I am joined by my co-host, sporting, that's got to be like a 90s style Montreal Expos jersey, Mr. Sean Morton. How are you, Sean?
You know, I'm good, Jeffrey. You know, I collect jerseys. I rummage through my 70-plus jerseys to try and find a Detroit Tigers or Pistons jersey, which I thought I had both, and I don't. I was going to wear it in honor of our guest because I know he is from there. And I failed everybody. I failed everybody miserably. So I went with the Montreal Expos jersey.
You know what? Let's bring in our guest because I've been trying to get this guy on the show, and he could attest to it for probably close to a year now.
And I have been trying to get to work with this guy for probably 10 years because he is of the same ilk as me. So this is a good thing for me. I'm going to have a great episode today. I'm telling you, this is not going to be one of those when Sean calls it in and phones it in with the fucking weed gummies. I'm fine. I'm good today.
All right, so let's intro him. Okay, so this guy, you've seen him on America's Got Talent. He plays headlines clubs all over the country. He's a radio show host. Let's give it up, making his debut on this show, Mr. Kevin Downey Jr. How are you, Kevin?
Thank you, gentlemen. I'm lovely. How are you guys?
We're doing good. Hey, you know what I wanted? I've seen Kevin and I've worked with him at Dangerfields and Broadway Comedy Club, mostly in the city. One thing about Kevin, I don't know, Sean, if you've ever seen Kevin live. Kevin is a very unique act.
Mm-hmm.
He really, it is. It's a great act. It's a very different. Like we have a lot of stand-up comics on this show, but Kevin has the most unique delivery for a comic from very, very well-crafted jokes.
Oh God,
okay?
Yeah.
Right. That's the thing. It's not just like Emo Phillips, man. He's doing like I don't know if it's a character, but it's a joke number one, joke number two. You gotta see him.
Yeah, it's kind of like an autistic Stephen Wright.
Yes, I love that. Perfect.
Evan,
how have we not met yet?
Where did you come up with that?
Not met?
I don't know. We're trying to. I was trying to get a show booked with us and our good friend Terry McNeely, and it's one of those things. It's one of those things where, like, and he says it best, where we're all kind of like the same level at this point. Like we can headline on the road and stuff like that, but when you're doing that, when you're all on the same level, your paths are constantly going this way, and it's very rarely that you ever get the chance to.
Terry McNeely. I'm closing at a Dairy Queen in Gibraltar, Michigan.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I'm gonna go out like 3 days early. There's a bar down in fucking in the middle of Cincinnati, and the guy throws me like $40 on a bottle of gin, and I'm good. Then I just like stay in my car for 2 days before I headline for $100.
That's great.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's 100% accurate too. Kevin, where did you come up with that delivery?
Oh, you know what it was? I have such ridiculous anxiety about going on that I couldn't hide it. So I just sort of made it part of the act, and I just sort of toned it down and I just said, I want to be kind of a weirdo, and I just couldn't hide the jitters. So I just sort of threw that in, and I've sort of smoothed the edges over the past 3 and the third decades. So I don't come off as jittery, but that's how it started. Now it's just my being a weird beard, just to stand out and not be every other white guy telling one-liners.
Well, that's it. That is like the key right there. You do stand out. Do you think that helped you advance as far as you did on America's Got Talent?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you look at whatever you want to pick, comedy or music, people who have an act. And when I say an act, I don't just mean like jokes. You have to have an act. You have to have a persona. You have to have a visual appearance that people can look at and go, that's the guy right there. That's like it's all an act. That's why when I go on the road, there's always some hipster with his flannel shirt. And there's like, there'll be 8 of them. You can tell who the comics are. All of you clowns right there. None of them stand out. They all look like each other. It's almost like they're trying to look like each other. And I just want to grab one and go, stand out.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the great things about the three of us. We don't blend.
Yes, exactly.
I hope so, man. That I kind of feel sometimes is is a problem for me. But I always loved the dedication to the character that you do, Kevin. And I remember listening to, I think it was Opie and Anthony was talking about you because he said he was watching America's Got Talent. He goes, I don't remember that guy's name, but he described your act, and then they looked you up, and then do you remember something like that?
I didn't hear about that, no, but before I knew Anthony, he came to Governors and he watched the show and then he went on air and said nice things about me. So maybe that's somehow related to the first conversation about the show.
Yeah. So I think like sometimes like you don't remember a comic, but like you say like someone like Dustin Chafin, I don't remember that guy's name, but the guy who wore the cowboy hat, right. Or like you, the guy, that crazy guy with the hair, and you dress with the tie, and the vest. It's like you said, it's a look, it's an act, as opposed to guys who you say all look the same, and when you just describe them, you say, "Oh, is that one of the 7 guys we saw tonight?" And they all blend in, and they're unmemorable.
Exactly. It was the guy with the flannel and the beard, and he had the black glasses, and he talked about weed a lot. Who's that guy?
Right, or being unemployed. Yeah. Or if you're in New York, I remember one time I used to host the open mic at New York Comedy Club. Okay. And I remember it was like a great mic. I mean, everybody came to it, and we would have like, I remember one afternoon we had like 33 comics who showed up. I mean, it was a long mic. 27 of them all took the exact same point of view. Guess what, Kevin? They were all against racism.
Oh, well, thank God someone is. We got the flannel brigade against racism. That's just like hipster doofuses trying to get laid. That's all that is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I really thought that was a very bold point of view to take, that, in a room, in an echo chamber, 27 comics all had the exact same point of view. It really showed courage. That's courage. Yes. It's brave. Right,
exactly. Yeah, to stand out. Yeah. When I first started doing comedy, everyone was doing a, thank you, by the way, everyone was doing who's the boxer, the big boxer?
Mike Tyson?
Thank you. Everyone was doing Mike Tyson impressions. Everybody. Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay, don't do a Mike Tyson impression. But you would go to like an open mic in the city and there'd be 28 comics, and easily 12 of them are doing that. I was doing this thing in Florida, and this guy goes up, and this is slightly different, but one guy's wearing shorts in a Hawaiian shirt. The other guy's wearing a suit, and they're both heavyset guys. And the guy in the suit goes up first, and he does an impression of Bill Cosby, and he does an impression of Donald Trump, and he kills with both of them. So the guy after him, dressed like a schlub, goes up and does the exact same two. He goes, I know he did it, and his might be a little better, but I'm going to do mine. And just eats it, just fucking eats it. And which, like, the next thing I was sort of going to, like, wedge into is not only should comics have their own look, but fucking dress up. Like, the comic should not be the worst dressed guy in the room. And I've seen these clowns, and not even like nice sneakers, shitty sneakers, and not even a t-shirt, but an undershirt, a nice white one that's been around for a while, a little rip and tear. Like, I'm going on stage. And I'm like, you look like the biggest piece of shit on the block. Like, who would pay to see you?
I agree 100%.
Unless you're a tell and you can pull off those jokes, you're 100% right. And on a Saturday night, if you're doing someone's comedy show, if you're doing someone's fundraiser or a comedy night, you should kind of, I agree, you should always wear shoes and a collared shirt. That's what I think. But you know what I hate? Have you ever seen these like lazy closing bits? Like Sean doesn't do it, and I probably wouldn't be friends with him if he did. Have you ever seen like the fat guy closer when they kind of like do the lap dance?
Like Coleman Green?
Fucking Sean called people out.
I don't give a shit. I don't fucking care. Yeah. How many times I had a fucking feature for that fucking overgrown milk dud, and he pulls out a goddamn pair of like size 60 white fucking Fruit of the Looms at the end of the bit? It's fucking horrifying.
I have seen at least.
I don't remember that part.
Yeah, I've seen at least 3-4 comics do that one. And or how about the hands bit when you put your hands behind your back?
Oh, that's always fun. Yeah, you know why? Because everybody invented that bit. But go back to fucking books in the 20s, they were doing that in fucking vaudeville.
Yeah,
for Christ's sake.
It's an old improv game.
But Vic DiBitetto invented that. That's okay.
I think it's actually carved onto caveman stone walls or something.
People right, yeah. There's hieroglyphics of like, there's a fucking donkey and there's like the wheel, and then there's some asshole going like this, where you could put some fucking dumb girl could put her hands through. Oh, he's gonna jerk off. Shut up.
This is the other thing about.
You know what else I hate? You always see these like large black comics who are humping chairs. Have you not? I've seen like 5 of them.
Oh yeah, the humping chairs. Yeah, that's a staple.
That's a good one. Yeah. Dude, I'm 6'3", 350. You know how many fat jokes I do in an hour set? 2.
Perfect.
2.
Absolutely.
You know why? Because the easiest fucking thing to do for me is to do a fucking 45-minute to an hour bit about being fat. No, it's 2 minutes and then it's done. And then I'm calling everybody else a cunt.
My God, I can see. You know, you and McNeely are related.
Yeah, he sleeps at my house when we do shows together over here. It's fucking great.
What state do you live in?
I'm in Jersey. I'm in Central Jersey.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, so I booked like 3 or 4 shows, and I had everybody from Long Island coming out to Jersey. It was Terry, Mike Keegan, and Carla on 4 shows over the past couple months. So of course, you know, Mike and Carla would drive home, and Terry would puke on the side of my car and then sleep in my dog's bedroom.
Yeah, I have video of McNeely puking on the side of I-75 on our way to do gigs for this guy called Disgruntled Clown.
Oh my God, that's a story for a book all in itself.
I know. It's on the side, and I'm shooting the video through the mirror. He's like, fuck. He pulls out and goes, what are you doing? I'm sitting on the side. Just fucking gets out.
We did a distillery one time in upstate New York, like in the middle of fucking bumfuck, like west of Binghamton, where there's nothing. And then we had a great show. And then we wind up going to this bar next door, and we're drinking our faces off. And it's like 5 to 12. And he's like, all right, I'm gonna call a fucking Uber. And he's putting the Uber app. I'm like, you realize Uber doesn't work up here, right? Like there's no fucking people, right? So he's like, I can't get a fucking car. I can't get a fucking car. We're 5 miles away. What the fuck are we gonna do? The bartender hears us. This is how far deep we are into the middle of New York State. They go, my cousin drives the cab. Let me call him. 5 minutes later, he just got home. He'll be here in 5 minutes. They have one cab in the town of Appalachian, New York.
Oh, geez.
Fucking great.
Now, you guys had never really met until today, right?
No, just on Facebook.
And so you follow Kevin on Facebook, and
I followed Kevin for years because Kevin has I know one thing about Kevin that I thought was fucking very interesting. Besides the whole gun thing and the AIDS and all that shit, it was
But he doesn't have AIDS.
I know. The collection of lunchboxes.
Oh, that's yeah. I love lunchboxes.
So you can look behind me. I'm a collector myself. I collect all kinds of stupid shit. I never knew anybody who collected. Yeah, I collect a lot of shit, but
are those toys to your left?
Yeah, it's like over here is all the stuff I didn't take out of the box. Behind me is all the pop vinyls. I got tons of other stuff on the other side you can't see because of the camera setup. But like I got my guitars over here and my Yankee corner, my Celtics corner.
Wow.
Yeah. And you got laid?
What's that?
And you got laid?
Yeah. Believe that?
And you have toys.
I have collectibles. I don't have toys.
But the point I was trying to make before is that when you follow Kevin on Facebook, he is like really one of the more interesting guys to follow on Facebook. Definitely. Because what I like about Kevin. Yeah, Kevin, because the problem is that you don't like to voice your opinion.
Yeah, that's right. I should have just learned to shut up.
You're like a shy, delicate flower, and you kind of like back down, and you kind of assimilate to the crowd.
He panders to the middle of the road.
Yes, he panders. He's a panderer. No, Kevin is the exact opposite. Now, I'm assuming that's what your radio show is about.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So tell us a little bit about that.
So it's on Tuesday from 5 to 6. I'm going to be on Fridays as well soon.
Oh, nice.
We're ironing that out right now. So I'm going. Thank you. We're going up to 2 days a week. 5 to 6. It's just calling out the commies and saying everything that, you know what? Like I will argue with people on Facebook just to have something to talk about on the radio or to write about. I write for pjmedia.com. So I will start a fight with some retard like Adam Oliensis to get him to say something so ridiculously stupid that I can write about it and make money, which I've done several times now.
That's great.
So what are the things that baits people into to these, like, social media wars, which I get involved in a lot of Twitter wars, but I'm really, it just becomes so exhausting.
All right, so I'll write an article. Like I wrote an article called transgender people are the most, I forget how I put it, like the most well-off victims, or whatever I put it. Debate me. People, fuck you transphobic. But I mean, they're so protected now that they don't get to play victim. And that's what I wrote about. And that just sets people off. And I just did this. It was I thought it was going to be funny, but I want to see if someone would explode. I wrote, every lefty guy I know swears that a man in a skirt is a woman, yet no one I know has fucked one of them.
Well,
sure. Would you like to? You can come out to us, man. It's okay. We have no problem with it.
Purely for the bit.
Remember, Sean, if you're drunk, it don't make you gay.
That's true too.
So, Kevin, let me ask you.
The rest stops.
So, let me ask you guys this: what's your take? I think I have an idea, but what's your whole take on these with transgendered women participating in women or collegiate women's sports?
I did a Chrissy Mayer show about a year ago, and she always does the porn stars on there, and I was very honest with her. I had a transgender porn star on there. It's very pretty, very pretty, whatever, huge rack, huge cock. They showed the pictures, everything, right? Serious, it's the truth. And I said, listen, I never really. I'll say it here because no one listens to this shit, but I lean way right. Okay. But I also have, a lot. I tend to be more like socially liberal and financially conservative,
Me too.
So yeah. I'm very middle ground, and I'm a huge.
So you're saying you have common sense.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So I have a lot of friends who have children who are transgender, and I have comic friends who are transgender, and friends in my personal life who are transgender. And I believe that they have every single right to do anything that any normal heterosexual man or woman should do, but they should not play sports. They should not do it. It's an unfair advantage because no matter what, if you have a transgender woman who is biologically born a male, I mean, physiologically, they're still a man. Right. You can change your genitals, you can change your breasts and stuff like that, but your genetic makeup is still a man, and your bone structure is different. Your muscular structure is different. There's certain things that are just different, and I just don't believe in that. And she was like, well, they should have divisions in every sport for transgender people. I'm okay with that. I go, well, how are you going to have a transgender baseball league? Do you think that there's literally going to be 8 teams worth of transgender baseball people that are good enough to play in the fucking major league?
But in college swimming, you can. I mean, what Leah Thomas is doing is making a mockery of every record in the women.
I just don't agree with that. I just don't agree with that. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. But I mean, yeah, you can't exclude somebody because if you tell them they have equal rights to everybody, I get it. It's just a personal opinion that I believe that it's kind of the cards are kind of decked against you in that way.
What do you think, Kevin? What do you think? Have you followed this whole Leah Thomas these stories?
I've written about Leah Thomas. Frankly, it's a little embarrassing to me that I get it. He thinks he's a woman. He's not. And instead of saying, look, you have some issues, we should probably work on them, they go, you are a woman and you are the best woman. And there are like real women who they can't speak up because they don't want to be kicked out, because this is a bad time to have a differing opinion. The coach from what do they call it now? The Commanders, Washington.
Oh yeah, we were gonna have Mike Westhoff on today. He was the assistant coach, and you know who Mike Westhoff is? He's special teams coach for the Jets. We're gonna have him on in a couple of weeks, but that was something I wanted to discuss. Yeah. So the assistant coach for the Commanders, he just said it. He just stated an opinion. He just stated an opinion, and refresh my memory on what this was about.
So he said that January 6th wasn't nearly as bad as the BLM Antifa riots, and he's 100% right. But he got fined $100,000 for saying it, even though players have taken a knee for the past 3 seasons and gotten away with it. Now, that's insane to me. So that's telling me if you don't think the way the Politburo wants you to think, you will be punished. And that's why these girls and these swim teams, they tried to keep quiet for a while. Then they finally broke. A few of them said, no, this is insane. That is a man right there. That's a man with long hair. It doesn't matter what he says. If someone says, I'm a woman now, and the world's supposed to bend over for that person, that's insane to me. That person deserves to exist. Have at it. Buy all the, mini skirts you want. But don't think that real women's rights should be thrown under the bus because the chick with a dick suddenly wants some attention. I don't buy it.
Why do you think that these coaches are kind of like allowing that to happen, especially and not every team has a transgendered athlete on it. And I mean, there is no real end game, because when you're in college sports, especially in an event like swimming, I mean, the ultimate goal is to qualify for the Olympics. A transgendered woman is not going to ever be able to qualify for the Olympics. It's an international committee that's just going to always vote it down.
Or will they?
Oh, a lot of you don't think this is.
I gotta agree with Kevin. I agree with Kevin with that.
This is the reason why I say that, right? This is kind of like a encapsulates society today. In one hand, you'll have people protesting, transgendered rights, gay rights, okay, and that's fine. In the same hand, we got to give money to Ukraine. Gay marriage in Ukraine is against the law. You don't even know what the fuck you're kind of like giving money to, or where the money is going, or anything like that. So sometimes I think that people just want to be part of the group. Like, remember after 9/11, there would be these soccer moms who'd stand on the side of the road and like, hunk if you love America, and everybody would do it. I think that's the way people kind of feel with these progressive causes. They want to be part of the crowd.
Sean, you want to go first?
Yeah, I have never once changed my Facebook profile picture to have the little banner on the side. I got my vaccine. I got my shot. Did you get yours? Or, free Burma, protect Burma. I've never done that in my fucking life. Like, my aunt is guilty of that. My aunt has had one Facebook profile picture, and it says she has 97. Right. So I scrolled through, and it's just Happy Easter, Happy July 4th, Happy Memorial Day, and it's people just don't think for themselves. And that to me bothers me, because I'm a free thinker. I told Jeff this before. I voted for Obama twice, and I voted for Trump twice. I'm a free thinker. I think what I want. You know what I mean? And there needs to be more people who do that. And I mentioned this on the show the one time. I had a very not heated argument, but it wasn't heated on my end. It was heated on the person's end, where they found out that I had voted for Trump early on in the first election. And she was like, don't you care about my rights? And I said, absolutely, I care about your rights. But he doesn't. I go, I'm talking about me. I'm not talking about him.
What rights was she referring to?
About her body, about abortion. So I said, I'll tell you right now, I am a firm believer that you have the right to do that. I said, you are a beautiful woman. I believe you have the right, if you got knocked up by accident, by whatever, and you said to yourself that you don't feel it's right for me to bring this child into the world, whether it's because you're not ready, you don't have the money for it, you already have 7 of them, whatever the excuse is, you have the right to control your body and do whatever you want to it. However, if you're walking into that abortion clinic, I also believe you have the right to have a gun strapped to your fucking hip. And
exactly.
I literally saw the meltdown of a person who is so far left that believes everything the left does. Now, if I'm talking to somebody on the right, they're not going to agree with me either, because they may believe more in, being pro-choice, being pro-life than pro-choice. It's called just thinking for yourself. Listen to Fox, but then when you're done, put on MSNBC or put on fucking CNN and just see how fucking polar opposite both sides are.
That's a great point.
None of them are right. None of them are right. That's the whole thing.
I was a big lefty too. And it's not so much that I changed. I think the parties all took a little step to the left.
100%. Became more radical.
Yes, exactly. So the truth is, I'm a horrible conservative. I mean, drugs, sex, parties, whatever. I'm into it. Like, I'm the worst conservative on the planet. But I'm suddenly a conservative now because I don't believe that men can have babies. So I'm some sort of phobe. I'm at least two phobes there. At least transphobic.
So Kevin, what's a woman?
A woman is a female human being with a uterus who gives birth.
You ever see that video of the doctor who was schooling the trans woman? He asked him what a woman was, and she couldn't give the explanation of what a woman was, but she wanted her rights.
We have a Supreme Court justice that can't tell you what a woman is.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I mean that's it's kind of crazy. So this is the type of stuff you talk about on the radio show, and people call in.
Oh yeah. It's we're on 103.9 FM, Suffolk County, New York. It's Kevin Downey Jr. No, I don't puke like that. I swear. I just did that to gross you out. Yeah, we talk about, we could have this whole conversation. We could have this whole conversation on air. As long as we don't curse, it would be the same thing that we do we do some breaks, and that's it. That's the only difference.
Now, who calls it? Do you find it kind of like 50-50? Do you find it sways significantly one way or the other? I mean, do you get opposing point of views?
We haven't had a lot of calls, but the ones we get most of them are people going, yeah, I agree, or I agree with that, but keep this in mind. But I've never had anyone call up and say, F you, fuck you, you Nazi, I'm going to stand outside. I'm dying for one of those. I would love a death threat, man. I could get a pistol permit in 50 states with that.
Now, because of your point of view, and you're so outspoken about it, and like you don't hide it or anything like that, does it sometimes prohibit you from working certain clubs or or costing you relationships with other comedians?
Okay, so there's a couple of comics / bookers who don't book me, and that's fine. I mean, we could probably go through who they are, but I have made so much more money from politics on the right than either of these clowns could have booked me into. So I've got a couple of goons. They're probably going to watch this, and they're going to look where my next gig is. They're going to send an email saying, you shouldn't hire Kevin Downey Jr. He's a white supremacist who writes white supremacy articles for the white supremacist website, pjmedia.com.
Kevin, hold on a second. Is that term starting to lose some of its sting, being labeled a white supremacist, just like being labeled a racist? Because if you overuse it or misuse it, it starts to become desensitized.
Yep, there's a word for that. I can't remember what it is, but there's a word for you use a phrase too often or a word and it loses its meaning. Absolutely. I read about this. I'm telling you right now, there's no organized white supremacy in the United States. We've had more black supremacy attacks than white supremacy attacks in the past year. Okay, go to pjmedia.com. It's all there. The guy in Waukesha, he ran over 67 white people, white or black supremacists. All he did was say, I hate all these white people. Let's kill these white people. And I love Hitler because he killed Jews. Frank James, a subway shooter, black supremacist. Black supremacist shot a cop in the head in Florida around 7 months ago. He was on the lam, as they used to say, and they caught him on some black supremacist property in a treehouse. Like, there's way more of a problem with black supremacy in this country than there is white. And if you want to talk about murder rates, black people kill twice as many white people every year as white kill black people. That's an FBI stat. That's not me talking. And I love when people go, that's so racist. No, facts aren't racist. What is racist is going, white people are hunting black men. So that black people go out and stomp a 17-year-old to death on a basketball court at LeBron James's I Promise School in Akron, Ohio, where Terry McNeely worked this week. I'm just pointing that out.
No coincidence at all.
No, none.
I like how it comes back to McNeely.
Always.
Yeah, that's how my life is. It really just circles back to Terry at some point.
No, but that's a very interesting show, and I think it's very hard for right-leaning comedians sometimes to to get not to get work. I mean, there is work to be had, but I think it's stupid to kind of like limit where comedians could work based on their political affiliation.
It does suck, but like I never talk about politics on stage. I think you know that, Jeff. You've seen me work before. I've never touched on politics or religion or anything on stage. Never once. I used to do one joke. That was it. I was like, if you ever thought like 10 years ago when you're watching The Celebrity Apprentice, if that guy with the really horrible hair and thinks he's God's gift to fucking women was going to be president, I would say, yeah, goddamn right, I'd vote for Gene Simmons. That's the only joke I ever did as far as politics goes. But, and I say this to our friend all the time too, is like, I see his calendar and his calendar is stacked, but it's in red states.
Yep.
So is it worth talking about it and then having to drive 5 and 6 hours for a gig? Or is it better to just kind of maybe talk about it on something like this or talk about it on a radio show and have the ability to work anywhere you want to work? It's a tough call. It's a really tough call.
I mean, you'll see guys like Gino Bisconti and Pat Dixon and Chrissy. I mean, no, they're not really hurting for work too much.
No, because they also have a full network backing them too. You know what I mean? It's a very different situation. It's not one person who's going out and going rogue. This is basically a network that is a right-leaning network, and that's totally fine. They have to have balance for everything. But yeah, that they're a little different. I think it's a little different situation.
But you don't see it going the other way. You don't see someone who's leaning left and say, "Hey, you got to pipe down."
Because that's all of comedy except for that.
Right.
Yes. There's like 9 of us, and at least 2 of us are on this show. I don't know where you stand, Jeff. Are you with one? Are you on Sean's side and my side?
He's one of us.
Come on,
okay. He's one of us.
You know exactly where I stand on this.
I know.
Yeah, we have a mutual buddy, Paul Bond, who at one time he was contemplating, kind of hanging this up, and me and him talked on the phone. I kind of talked him out. I was like, it's like you can't let this get you down, because he was losing gigs because of his opinion. And I got to tell you, man, I respect the shit out of him for kind of like not compromising and believe, at least being honest and being what you backing up with what you have to say. We had brought this up on the show a couple of weeks ago we had Gino on, and I had mentioned that Malcolm X's biggest fear, and he said the biggest threat to Black people was the liberal white man. Okay, because he is a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yep. And it's amazing to me that so many other people don't remember that. I mean, you've got your Candace Owens and whatnot who are sort of leading the way. But I read somewhere that Trump got more Black voters percentage-wise than anyone since Eisenhower. So that's a big turnaround right there, because Trump said it as it was. Black people have no tolerance for bullshit. White people frequently do. I can lie to a white guy. I'll go, oh yeah, okay. Black guy's going, no, you shut the fuck up. You're lying to me. I know you are. Black people have no tolerance for bullshit. They love that direct approach.
What do you see coming up in the midterm elections in November?
I see they're probably going to cheat again. I hope they don't cheat enough to make a difference this time, but they obviously cheated last time. You can't watch 2,000 Mules and say it's not a smoking gun. It is a smoking.
Infuriated me.
A smoking fucking gun in my home state of Michigan, which makes me mad because now I'm like, okay, so they're cheating here too. Like I expect it in Philadelphia, New York, but apparently Michigan's been cheating for years and somehow I missed it. But I think, what Ann Coulter said it best. Anytime you find a big city that was built by Irish people, you're going to have cheating. And she goes, Detroit, Chicago, Philadelphia. She runs them down, St. Louis. And it's true. That's where it started, and it's still going. But obviously, I think the Democrats are going to get pounded. They have nothing. They have nothing to run on except for we're trying to take guns, which, keep in mind, I'm from Michigan. It's a very, my parents were Democrats. They were auto workers, but they had guns and they told dirty jokes. They're not going to give up their guns for Joe Biden. They're just not going to do it, especially if you live around Detroit, Flint, Grand Rapids. Those people want their guns.
Yeah. For what reason?
We know.
Well, listen, that's the thing, Sean, because when you live in a city like New York, Detroit, Chicago, police response time is decent. But when you live in the suburbs, you live in the place in New York where you were. If you live somewhere all the way in Western Pennsylvania, where the local police station closed down at 9:00, why do you have to protect yourself?
It's true.
So you do need these guns. Do you think it's responsible gun owners that are doing these mass shootings, or do you think it's people who get the guns kind of illegally?
The gun is not the issue.
I agree.
People don't understand this. It's a mental health issue.
100%. That's my point. That's what I'm trying to.
It is not anything. These are an 18-year-old is not full. It doesn't have a fully developed brain. Number one. Your brain doesn't stop developing until you're like 23, 24 years old. So you don't have an opinion. You don't have the ability to hate that much at 18 years old. Do you? I don't think so. I don't think you have the life experience to be able to hate something that violently. It's a mental health issue. It's not the gun. I had an argument.
Can you blame people? Can you blame people these days? You 2 years of lockdowns. You've been indoctrinated. People, I think, are frustrated, and there's no one to really express your frustration to. I think people just kind of like lash out. I think people are just kind of like, they just kind of snap, and that's the scary thing, because you don't know where it's coming from.
I agree with that.
Let's switch gears a little bit here, because
Kevin, how many cocks have you sucked in your life? Anyway.
Yes. That was the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, Kevin. How many cocks did you suck, and which one tasted the best?
Oh, the shoes are coming off. The shoes are coming off.
He's using other people's hands. Kevin, you're a big 80s music guy, right? Because the show is called Who's Your Band? Who do you listen to? What kind of 80s music? And you said new wave. I mean, that could be modern English to The Cure and The Smith. Who did you listen to growing up?
Mostly modern English, The Cure, and The Smiths, I would say.
So I nailed it.
I listened to all of them. Echo and the Bunnymen, Bajas, everything you can think of. And you know what? I still do, because Jessica, my Puerto Rican, bisexual, gun-toting, Trump-loving fiance, has Sirius in her car. Yeah. So we listen to First Wave a lot. Anything new wave-ish. I mean, there's some stuff I probably hated, but most of it, I still listen to all of it. And I listen to surf music. Duran Duran is probably my favorite band in history. I mean, people are like, oh, Duran Duran, really? I mean, they've been cool for decades now. They're as old as U2 and way better. That's all anyone needs to know about Duran Duran. They've been at it as long as U2, and they're better.
Have you gone to see them?
Oh, yeah. Oh, numerous times. And John, I would say their bassist is one of the best bassists in music today.
And very underrated.
Rock. Yeah, he's very underrated. He's great.
He will be back for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame too, by the way.
Yes,
which
absolutely.
I think would be very, very cool. Be nice to see him on stage again with them.
Yeah, that's a great thing that they, I feel a little overdue that they should have gotten in. Because when you talk about like the real heart of the mid 80s, I mean, Seven and the Rag Tiger and what was the other? And Rio are probably two of maybe the biggest albums of the 80s. Yeah,
they've got huge. And remember when what was that thing going on at Farm Aid or something for the poor people of? And remember Phil Collins did a concert in England.
No, that was for Ethiopia. That was right.
Ethiopia, yes.
Yeah, that was Live Aid.
Live Aid, thank you. When that came out, Duran Duran had their James Bond cover, or not cover, but their James Bond theme.
Beautiful Kill.
Beautiful Kill, which was #1. So when that happened, they were like the biggest band on the planet. And you know what? Like every other band, they've had their ups and downs. And they're kind of like Pink Floyd. Like you find an album you didn't know they recorded. You're like, what? When was this? I didn't even know about this one. Like they have so many albums over the years. And they do a great cover of Crystal Ship by The Doors. And they do White Lines.
Yeah, that was on their covers album.
Yeah, White Lines is by Grandmaster Flash. Man, they rock that dude. Yeah, I think they're fucking great.
That is a great cover. You're 100% right with that. I think for me, I think that my favorite album is probably their first one, because I love Planet Earth. I love Save a Prayer. I think these are such great songs, and you think, and you could see as once they got into the 90s, they really became better musically.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The album you're talking about, I think, has Hold Back the Rain.
Great song. I forgot about that one. Love it. Yeah.
Hold Back the Rain, New Religion, great songs. I was listening to them when they were Arcadia. I mean, that's how much of a. Look at me. I mean, I dressed like them on stage.
What do you mean you listened to them when they were? Because they became Arcadia after Duran Duran. Remember, they took a little bit of a break, and you had Power Station with 2 members, and then you had the other 3 that went on to do Arcadia, which had the big hit Election Day.
Yep, I kept buying all of that stuff. Then they came back. They had a song called Reach Up for the Sunrise in, I think, 2003. That was a huge hit. They just have decades of hits, and they keep going. So I'll keep listening to them. I still think they're fun. And they're also one of the only 80s bands that tours on their own. Not like it's 80s night at the Brookhaven Theater. Come see Hazy Fantasy and 9 bands you didn't give a fuck about.
Yeah. Well,
wow, what a reference. Hazy Fantasy. Why didn't you just go with Hanoi Rocks?
Jesus.
Because Hazy Fantasy is a total pussy band.
Jesus Christ. We've talked a lot of music on this show. We have
never come up.
We have never had that reference.
No.
Kevin, man, pulling one out of the hat. That's a good one. Who else did you listen to? Were you a Smiths fan?
I wasn't a Smiths fan until years later, because I found him whiny and bitchy. Poor me, the boy with the thorn in his side. And I wasn't into it then. But I got into him years later. I was big into Echo and the Bunnymen. You know what? I love the Go-Go's. I was a big fan of the Go-Go's, the Cars.
Cars, very underrated band, I think. When people talk about the great bands, this is a band that didn't have a bad album.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that first album is one of the best debut albums ever.
It's a greatest hits album.
Yeah, it really is. Exactly. I was a big fan of Sisters of Mercy. I don't know if that really falls under the new wave.
This Corrosion was a great song.
A great band.
Yeah. And The Church. I like The Church. Sisters of Mercy. Hey, no. Yeah. I think that's them.
That's them.
Yeah. I love that stuff. And that Bauhaus stuff.
I got a friend who's obsessed with Peter Murphy. When he played in the city, I don't know, a couple months ago, she went 4 nights in a row. He played this little club that has 200 people. Yep,
Bauhaus, Love and Rockets, all of that stuff. Any reason for me to put eyeliner on and go, scare the white people in the suburbs of Detroit in 1984? Ooh, yeah, I love that music.
Are either of you guys going to see the stadium tour?
For
the stadium tour, that's Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison.
I did not get tickets for that. I have seen every one of those bands already. I don't know that I need to go see that, because I think that Motley Crue is one of my favorite 80s metal bands, and he just can't pull that off anymore.
I think he's going to surprise people.
I saw a video. I will tell you this. I saw a video that was about a few weeks ago, and it was I think he was doing Wild Side, or one of the 80s hits.
Love that song.
He fucking killed it. He really did. And I think a lot of his issue is weight. Because
he lost 35 pounds.
Yeah, listen, I might pull a last minute. I'm not booked that night. I might go into City Field and see that show.
I'm going with fellow comics. You guys know Joe Curry, right?
Love Joe Curry.
Yeah,
I love Joe Curry.
Joe Curry and Davin Rosenblatt.
Love Davin too. That's a nice little circle jerk.
Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting night. We're just not going to talk about what we talked about here earlier in the show.
No, because Joe will agree, and Davin will fucking have an aneurysm and before fucking Joan Jett is off the stage.
Yeah, but
you know what?
I'm looking forward to that show.
Is Joan Jett on it?
Yeah, Joan Jett is on she's the first band.
There's going to be a band before.
She's very hard to follow. Dude, yeah. I'll tell you, I went to a show in Baltimore, to a concert in Baltimore, and I got to wind up getting a hookup and got to meet her before her set. Very sweet, very nice. Told her I played guitar for 30 years. She goes, listen, I'd love to put my arm around you, take a picture. My arms have such horrific arthritis in my shoulders. I can't lift my arms up. She goes, I don't do anything with my arms until I go on stage, and then I go balls out. And then afterwards I am drugged up with anti-inflammatories and stuff like that.
Wow.
I'm like, all right, cool. Take the picture. Also was my Christmas card. And then I wound up getting the text that says, hey, do you want to watch it from the stage? Yes, way. I want to watch it from the fucking stage. So I'm behind her keyboard player, and I forget his name, but he's her manager. And he's been with her for 40 years. And he was the one who brought it. He goes, stand right here. Okay. Stand right here. And, enjoy the show. And it was a huge festival, one stage all the way on the other opposite end of the football field. And then this stage, see the show. I'm in fucking heaven. I've never been on, I've been on stage a million times with a band, but I've never, seen like that. We went to see another band called Dropkick Murphys. That's the reason we went for this concert in Baltimore. I get off the stage after Joan Jett. We start walking to the other stage. We saw one song and said, they can't fucking top that. We're out of here. We wound up going to the bar instead.
Yep.
He is a monster on stage.
Yeah. Yeah. There was some Prince tribute, and there's like 9 stars on stage, and she gets the solo and kills it. Yeah. There's no following Joan Jett. That's all right. Any new comics out there? Don't follow Joan Jett.
Yeah. I think the order of this tour, there's going to be a newer artist who's going to be opening the show. Just like as they open up the doors and I think he's going to do about 20 minutes. Then there'll be a kind of little bit of a break, and then Joan. I don't know how long they're going to give Joan. She's probably going to do about. I figured them
35 minutes.
And how about Poison? What are they supposed
Poison's
to do?
Getting about 45, and then Def Leppard and Crew get about an hour and a half each.
That's going to be a long afternoon.
It's a real long afternoon, big time.
But I'm looking forward to seeing this, man. I mean, I've never seen Motley Crue.
Are you kidding me?
Never got a chance to see him.
Wow, that's
never
a shame.
Saw Motley Crue. Never got to see Aerosmith.
I saw
you
Motley
guys know
Crue.
Johnny Benson?
Yeah, I love Johnny. Great guy.
Johnny Benson was at the Motley Crue show where Tommy Lee fell off of the drum with the riser. Remember?
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, when he would turn around.
Johnny Benson was there. So Johnny Benson's the most famous person I know. Because he was there.
You need to meet a lot more people, my friend. He's my favorite comedian, ice cream salesman.
Kevin looks like he could be in a band.
Oh, yeah. I would do that. I got my guitars right here. I'm going to put him behind the keyboard. That's what we're going to do. We'll put Kevin behind the keyboard, keep him very mysterious, snakeskin pants. We just got to figure out what our name is going to be. I think the Dirty Whistles is
but do you sing or play any instruments or anything?
Yeah, I play drums.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
Really?
And I know Jessica plays guitar, I think, right?
She plays the ukulele.
That's right.
And once a year, I'll do a gig where there's a band like these Poconos things. Mm-hmm. You know the ones.
With the fuck tubs.
The Paradise Street. Yeah, I did my thing. There was a band. I got to play a song with a band, and I went home the next day. I had COVID.
Oh wow! I did that when I did a cruise right before COVID exploded, and I do my set, and then I'm friends with the band. And I'm like, yeah, that's nice singing. They're like, oh, that's awesome, I go, listen, what do you want me to sing? They go, Sweet Child of Mine. I'm like, okay, no problem. I said, listen, if I start cracking, jump right in. She goes, okay, no problem. I got the word she's got out of my mouth, and she took the microphone right away. I was like, I got to rehearse a little bit more, I guess.
Listen, guys,
fun show.
This was a lot of fun. But we got to wrap this up because we only got an hour on this. So, Kevin, man, it's been a long time. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, sorry we couldn't make it happen sooner, man. But let me know. I'll do it again. This is a lot of fun.
And let's try and set something up on the road.
We got to do some drinking soon, eh? Yeah,
I agree. I have 97 bottles of bourbon upstairs.
Perfect. All right, guys. Thanks for having me. I'll talk to you again.
Kevin, thank you very much. Take care, everybody. Subscribe. We'll see you soon.